Hello everyone. So let's now solve practice assignment week 5, question number 8, 9 and 10. So it's a comprehensive type question. Aisha, Rita, Sabya and Vine went on a trip to Manali and Kasol. Accommodation cost 1500 rupees per day in Manali and 800 rupees per day in Kasol. The total food cost is 2000 rupees per day in Manali and 1200 rupees per day in Kasol. They plan to spend 2 days in Manali and 2 days in Kasol. The first and second row of the table shows the percentage of the contribution by each of them for the accommodation at Manali and Kasol. So this is the first table that shows the accommodation cost in Manali and Kasol respectively. Similarly, the first and second row of table shows the percentage of contribution by each of them for food at Manali and Kasol. So this is the second table that we have. Suppose T of xy denotes the contribution of a person for accommodation per day, where the first variable x denotes the percentage of contribution by that person for accommodation in Manali, and second variable y denotes the percentage of contribution by that person for accommodation in Kasol. That means if A and B denotes the cost for accommodation per day at Manali and Kasol, respectively, then T of xy is given by this, that is A times x plus by and divided by 100 because these are the percentage contribution. Similarly, T dash V comma W denotes the contribution by a person for food per day, where the first variable V denotes the percentage of contribution for food in Manali, and second variable W denotes the percentage of contribution for food in Kasol. Answer the following question based on the given information. So, in the first question 8, we are asked to find the definition of T of xy and T dash of VW. Okay. Now, in the question, we have given that if A and B denotes the cost for accommodation per day at Manali and Kasol, then our T of xy is denoted by 1 by 100 times ax plus by. So we have given that T of xy is equal to 1 by 100 times ax plus by, where what is our A? A is the cost for accommodation at Manali and B is the cost of accommodation at Kasol. And above we have given that the accommodation cost is 1500 per day in Manali and 800 per day in Kasol. So accommodation cost at Manali is 1500 rupees per day, and for Kasol it is 800 rupees per day. So with that our linear transformation would be 1 by 100 times 1500 times x plus 800 times y, and if you simplify this we'll get T of xy to be 15x plus 8y, and that is given in option 2. So option 1 is wrong. Now similarly we will try to find T dash of VW, and it's same as just like we have, it's just that V and W denotes the food cost here. So our T dash V comma W is 1 by 100 times A dash V plus B dash W, where A dash and B dash are the cost for food in Manali and Kasol. So cost for food at Manali is 2000 and in Kasol it is 1200. So T dash of VW would be 1 by 100 times 2000 V plus 1200 W, and if you simplify it you'll get 20V plus 12W, and that is option 3, and option 4 is wrong. Let's now solve question number 9. Choose the set of correct options. Suppose Aisha contribute for herself and also on behalf of Sabya, and the contribution per day by Aisha is given by T of x1 plus x3, y1 plus y3, and T dash of v1 plus v3, w1 plus w3 for accommodation and food respectively. Now if we look at the table, Aisha contribution for accommodation at Manali and Kasol is X1%, Y1%, and for Sabya it is X3%, Y3%. While for food, Aisha contribution is V1%, W1%, and for Sabya it is V3%, W3%. So now, Aisha contribution. Now for accommodation and for food, it is X1% and Y1%. That is for Manali and Kasol. And for food, it is V1% and W1%. While for Sabya, it is X3%, Y3%, and V3%, W3%. And if Aisha is paying behalf of both of them, then total contribution by Aisha would be X1 plus X3, Y1 plus Y3. This is for accommodation, and for food it would be V1 plus V3, W1 plus W3. This would be for food. And our contribution for accommodation is given by our linear transformation T. So Aisha contribution, if she pays on behalf of herself and Sabya, that would be T of x1 plus x3, y1 plus y3. So that is denoted by our total contribution for accommodation by Aisha, if she pays on behalf of both herself and Sabya. And similarly, for food, it would be V1 plus V3, W1 plus W3. This is food contribution by Aisha. So that's why option 1 is correct. Now option 2, the total contribution for the whole trip for the accommodation by Pritha is given by 2 times T x2, y2, which is equal to T of 2x2, y2. Now as it is given in the question in the starting that they plan to spend 2 days in Manali and 2 days in Kasol, while for 1 day trip contribution for accommodation is given by T of xy, which is, if we check, it is a linear transformation. So that means the total contribution for the whole trip, that is for 2 day trip, is given by 2 times T of x2, y2. That would be for 2 days. And as it is a linear transformation, 2 times T of x2, y2 is equal to T of 2x2, y2. So option 2 would be correct, while option 3 says that it is not equal to. So that's why option 3 would be incorrect. Now option 4 and option 5. Suppose Preetha contribution for herself and also on behalf of Van for food, and the contribution per day by Preetha for food is given by T dash of V2, W2 plus V4, W4, which is not equal to T of V2 plus V4, W2 plus W4, while option 5 says it is equal to. So it is similar to the finding for problem for option 1. So we have to find the total contribution by Preetha for food if she is paying on behalf of herself and also on behalf of Van. So if we check for food, Preetha contribution is V2, W2, and Van contribution is V4, W4. So the total contribution, just like we follow in the option 1, would be V2 plus V4, W2 plus W4. That is this. And as it is a linear transformation, so this would be equal to here this. That is T dash of V2, W2 plus T dash of V2, W4. But in option 4 it is not equal to. So that's why option 4 is wrong, while option 5 is correct. Now let's solve the last question for the practice round week 5, question number 10. A total contribution, accommodation and food per day can be denoted by. So we have the accommodation cost as T of xy and the food cost, that is T of T dash of V and W. So the total cost for one day would be nothing but just the sum of these two quantity, T of xy plus T dash of V comma W. Now we have to check whether this is a linear transformation or linear mapping or not. So to check any function is a linear transformation or not, we have two properties. It should satisfy two properties. That is, first one is T of A plus B is equal to T of A plus T of B, and second is T of C times of A is equal to C times T of A, where C is any real number. So let's try checking these properties on this. So now this is a function for four variables. So let's denote this by some f x, y, v, w equal to T of xy plus T dash of v comma w. So let's try checking whether this is a linear transformation or not. For that, first we check for this property. So consider two vector, that is v1, okay, let's say a to be our x1 comma y1 comma v1 comma w1, and b to be our x2 comma y2 comma v2 comma w2. So what we have to check is T of A plus B equal to T of A plus T of B. So that means here it is our f. So f of A plus B. So if we evaluate that, f of x1 plus x2 comma y1 plus y2 comma v1 plus v2 comma w1 plus w2, and this would be T of x1 plus x2 comma y1 plus y2 plus T dash of v1 plus v2 comma w1 plus w2. Now as these two are linear transformation, so we can write it as T of x1 comma y1 plus T of x2 comma y2 plus T dash of v1 comma w1 plus T dash of v2 comma w2. Now rearranging these terms, we will get T of x1 comma y1 plus T dash of v1 comma w1 plus T of x2 comma y2 plus T dash of v2 comma w2. Here this is nothing but f of x1 y1 v1 comma w1, and here this is nothing but f of x2 comma y2 comma v2 comma w2, and so what we got here is f of a plus f of b. So that means the first property is satisfied. Now let's check for the second property, that is T of c times a equal to c times T of a. So here it is our f. So again our vector a is x1 comma y1 comma v1 comma w1. So we have to check for some c x1 comma cy1 comma cv1 comma cw1. If we evaluate it, we will get T of cx1 comma cy1 plus T dash of cv1 comma cw1. And as these two are linear transformation again, so we will take this c outside and we get x1 comma y1 plus c T dash v1 comma w1. Now we can take the c common, so we get T of x1 comma y1 plus T dash, sorry, v1 comma w1. So here inside this quantity is our f, so c times f of x1 comma y1 comma v1 comma w1. So this is equal to the RHS for our property 2. So as these two properties are satisfied, that means our this mapping is a linear mapping. So hence option 2 is correct while option 1 is false. And option 4 is correct as this comes from our inner transformation property that we just proved here. Here it is C value is nothing but the 2. So that's why option 4 is correct while option 3 is incorrect. Thank you.